Here's a shot of my palette, which very few people get to see. The paints keep rising on the sides, and I've cut them down in the past, but anyway, that's what it looks like with my yellows and then the warms and the greens and the blues. So I'm going to do start another painting. Here is the photograph. It's Zion again, and I've done a couple of sketches so you can see what I've done. Here's the small one. Here's a small sketch. I like that, but I changed things when I made it a little bit larger. And let me put it here. You see it? It's a nice little painting. I like it, I do. It's 1114. I'm going to make an 18 by 24 of it. That's the size of the screen. Not the screen, but the canvas. And most of you haven't seen this, but 90% of what I paint on is canvas or linen glued onto a wood panel. So is this one here. They're sturdy, they don't bend, they'll never crack, like a lot of the paintings that I own of artists who are deceased. They're cracked, the crackler comes and then it takes money to fix it. Anyway, that's my plan, and that's that's what I'm planning on, and let's see what happens. I think we're ready to go. You've seen the small sketches, and I'm looking at them, and let's see what happens here. On the small sketch, I've gone way too high. I like the design. I even like these colors that are kind of strange or muted. On the larger one, they're much brighter, but I don't want to go too high. That's my biggest concern, and so I'm going to say that mountain is about here. Yeah, it's got kind of a slant to it. Comes down, not maybe actually a little large, but here. And then there's another one that comes next to it. It comes out, over and down. Like so. There's some shadows in here. This comes down here. And then there's the mountains that are in the foreground here. This here is this business up here. Or in the photograph, things are high or low. For instance, you heard me say that this is too high. Well, I don't like it right up here. I like it a little bit lower. It makes this kind of really the center of interest. And this comes down, and then it ends up going up in that direction here. There's a ridge here, and then there's this business, this large stuff here. It goes off the canvas, totally and completely off the canvas. Here, it's dark on this side. Comes down, and there's this wonderful shadow that kind of falls over everything. Falls over everything and continues. There's shadows behind here, shadows everywhere. This is dark. I'll indicate that already early on, so I kind of have a feeling for where I'm going with this. And then there is a ridge that's right about here. That's part of this grouping of rocks and granite or whatever it is in Zion. Here, and then it comes down with lots of shadows. And the shadows end up running all the way down across a meadow down here. It's kind of a green meadow here. Let's go back to this. This may be a little big. Yeah, I like that better. It just seemed too large in proportion. And even if it were that large in reality, I want to make it smaller so it kind of works on this particular canvas. So this comes down here, then it comes here, there. Yeah, there's a bunch of ridges here and lots of shadows behind. That's what I like this view. I love this view because it's got all these wonderful drop shadows from the early morning sun as it comes across. This here, here, here. And there's something that kind of comes from behind here. That's interesting. And this is kind of dark, and that's light. And then there's shadows here and here. This comes down. All right, I'm kind of getting the feel for it. There's also ridges that are here. Here. Things that kind of come into it. And then there's kind of a line where rock starts or stops, and then where things have kind of broken off and fallen. It's not, they're just rocks and boulders down here, and we'll put them in later. But this area, this whole area is in shade, but we know that there's a division here, that it kind of comes down. This is stuff that is crumpled from above, and as it crumbled from above, it kind of deposited here. Now we're going to have some green stuff. I mean, little bushes and things, but it's all in shade, so we're not going to see a heck of a lot. And then this cliff comes down. Yeah, it comes down. It's kind of like an alluvial fan of all the stuff that's broken down and kind of is over here. I think I'm going to go here, and then it kind of just disappears down here. And what I've done in my studies is that I've kind of stopped this line from taking the eye off the canvas, and I've put, and in the photograph, there were some trees and bushes and stuff. I've put a bush here. I put a bush here. It's kind of, it doesn't start on that ridge, but it's here. It's here. It's dark. Maybe the sunlight is on top, shadows on the bottom. This is all pretty dark. Then we end up having shadows here. Yeah, this kind of goes from here to here and here. Lots of shadows here. Yeah, this kind of comes all the way across. Shadows here. Okay, I mean, there are lots of shadows. Let me just block in the major values, which is, I'll take a large brush or a larger brush. Yeah, this one's large enough. Is that a number 8 or 12? Anyway, take some terp, take my Winsor Newton Alkyd White, and really it's just basically values. And what I do when I start off, I just kind of make a little slurry, a little soft, just a little slurry that I can go dip into and kind of continue my line. That's really all it is. It's here, yeah, here, here. The second line is here. Yeah, I'm looking to see, am I happy? Yeah, that's fine. Here, that comes to a joint right there. There's something going on right here. Then it continues off that way. Very light here. I'm going back to that slurry that I mentioned. here. This is where all my darks are. I'm going to get more terp. Oh yeah, here. I've changed the color to kind of a brown. And we know this is all going to be pretty dark. Take a blue, take a Lism Crimson, or this is the light red from Winsor Newton that goes here. And then the line that's really important is this one here. It's here. Lots of shadows behind here. There. This line is here. Then there are lines that kind of come down, but this is all in shade. So I'm going to make this kind of the shadow line of the hill that's to the right that we don't see. Okay, that can be lighter. That can be, and it all could be really warm because these hills, it was sandstone or something, but it's all very, very nice and warm. And so here's my shadow line. The shadow line continues, but this area down here has got the vegetation, and so I'll put in a little green. Dark. It's one of the darkest things here. There. Now, this is the line here. It continues over there. Here's our little tree. There, and now, let's see, this is too, I think, from my photo and I've made this really, it's here, and then it goes this way, but I'm wondering if this is too shallow. I kind of think, in other words, I'm missing a lot of the color of what's going on back here. Let me see here. How am I going to change that? This is the reason I suggest that people paint small, is for this very, very reason, that this is a good time. If you paint heavy right from the beginning, you'll be erasing things and what have you. Okay, so I've gained a little bit of area right here. Let me this continues. There are lines here. Let's see, I'm going to put some yeah, that looks good. I'll be putting in a few highlights down in here. It won't go as dark as it is now. Here's this here. Probably put another one in. And then there's, as the light comes across, it hits up here. Indicate that so you kind of know where we're going with this. It's here. You know, just looking at it and looking at the studies that I've done earlier, this ends up being a massive area. So I'm going to make it much smaller. It's just too large. So I'm taking, I think I'm going to bring this up here. That's the shadow. Then I'm going to cut this down here, and this is the shadow of this particular massive rock. And then that isn't, it's dark, but it's not quite as dark. So This actually comes up just a hair. Here. All right. Now, I took some light green here, mixed it with orange so that I can kind of start here. I just want to put some color down. Doesn't have to be the exact color. I'll add a little more orange to it. Let's take some reddish color here. This comes down here, and there are these. And then the highlight, there's again another highlight at the very bottom. Here, the sun is hitting. There's another one here. There. Yeah, it's here. And there are kind of little highlights here. Okay, let me put in a base value for this business right here, the thing that's staring at us. And it turns here. Okay, and it turns more reddish, a nice reddish color on the bottom. Not red, it's pink. Here. In fact, a lot of this stuff is pink. So, get me some pink. Here, here. I'm going to put that further down. That'll go here. Alright. And the sky is a beautiful blue. There are these wonderful strata again here. It's more pinkish on the bottom, a lighter yellow on the top. Here, and then it goes much lighter. There's a large shadowy area where it comes from here. It goes here. Let's see. Continues over there. And like I said, we have a lot of shadows here and there, shadows here. And the sky is going to be, oh, again, this is going to be kind of on the green side, dark green. here. And the sky is going to be a relatively simple blue, cerulean. So I'm just going to and then I'm going to make that shorter. Okay. I said I was going to reduce this hillside here, so there, and then it goes like so. Okay, well, I think for just a quick block in to see how this is done, or how I do it, it's not how it's done, and a lot of people do it differently, but this is how I do it. And it's worked for me, so I keep doing it until somebody comes along and says, you know, if you did A, B, and C, it would be a lot easier. Well, here's where we are. Basically, you know, the basic outline, and we're gonna fudge a little bit. I made some notes here, like this. I like this line better than what I had. It's much lighter up on top here. We're gonna do that as well. All of the various highlights and shadows that are running here in the sun, we're not going to do. It's going to be lighter here for sure. This is going to be much lighter. And this is going to get away from the yellow and go, then the value will get higher too. It's really getting the blast of the sun. But basically the outline and the basic design is here. It's just now a matter of applying paint, putting in brush strokes that I like. And in the dark areas, down in here, is where there's not much going on. I may end up having to put another kind of a cypress in shadow, and I may do that, but I don't know, we'll see. But you know, there's not much paint to scrape, but there isn't much paint on it. But there is a line which I described in the last time we were doing this. There's a line about here. Let me put it in, let me make a line. There's a line about here, and it goes here, and then it goes down, and then it kind of continues up here. This is where the rock structure seems to stop, and things that have broken off of these rocks seem to land down in this area right here. The deeper reds that are in shadow right here will repeat themselves, not in this area so much, but maybe a little bit here. But down in this area, there'll be a real wall. That's why I've got these two lines here. There will be kind of a wall of the same red rocks, and I don't know what kind of rocks they are. Sandstone? Who knows? Anyway, there are some heavy shadows in this area, and I like those. We're going to keep those going. And yeah, like right here, I don't think it'll be as blue as I'm making it now. And this area, well, let me draw an outline of where the shadow is. The shadow is really here, kind of comes down and then drops down some more, and then it kind of puts everything. This stuff over here is actually turned to the other side. The reason it's dark is because it's in permanent shadow. But this kind of ends here with a couple of dark strokes like coming up in this area, and they're not going to stay that color. I'm just indicating where they're going to be eventually here, and they won't be that blue. They'll have much more orange on them. Let's see here. There. Yeah, they'll be more orangey. I've got some green in there. That's fine too for now. I just want to get away from that deep blue here. And there's another tall there's another shadow area that comes. This is kind of a highlight on a rock surface, but a major shadow area, meaning there's a cliff with a highlight in this area and the shadow being on the other here. But we'll put that in here. Just kind of want to explain what my thinking is. So as I'm popping things in, like that shelving, that shelf of granite or sandstone or whatever this stone is, it's here. And this foreground area here is very, very dark, and I'm going to end up popping it even more dark than I've got now. There's also vegetation here. There's also here, but the vegetation here is on the, it's green, dark blue green, because it's in total shadow, and but I like the dark down there, I really do. I'm going to end up adding some more blue to it, and my question is, should I make it higher here and come down? I can't stand to have a straight line. I mean, that's just deadly for me. I can't stand it, and it makes things, and then I'll probably end up adding another cypress, juniper, or whatever they are in this area. This thing doesn't have to sit right on the edge over here where it goes. It can be much further forward, like right here. And that'll be fine. Same with this bugger right here. Let me kind of color in. I'll take a much larger brush. Here, I'll take a larger brush and I'll color this in. I'll just kind of make a shadow area like this business right here, because underneath here it's not all just red. It's got some interesting light color. I mean, the light color, the light grays that are in here as part of the strata ends up breaking off and falling down here. So some of the light grays that are here are going to be down below. So we say this is going to be, and this is going to be the kind of the shadow area. And then here it's going to be that gray of strata, rocks and things that have fallen down. And occasionally there'll be a highlight here that will indicate, there's a large boulder that came down. All right, so, and the dark area, again, is vegetation, and I'm not going to make it as dark on the side over here. Again, this is vegetation. It's little plants, little shrubs, little something. They're not everywhere, but they're in clumps here. All right. That's what's happening here. And it does seem to start here. There's no vegetation here, even though there is some in the mountains here at the tree line. So now that we've established that, I know everything above this line is going to be lighter. And let's see if I can establish the color that I like. It's kind of it's an orangey, it's orange, but not just orange. Add some terp here so that flow will be better. Yeah, I'm gonna keep mixing my paints here, a little orange. And some of this stuff on the sunny side, on the side that catches there, here. There. Punch that up even more. A nice orangey red. It's going to be wonderful. Here. So it's not a solid color, that's for sure. There are veins inside of it, like there. And now, okay. And now let me go to the dark side. I'll just put a general color down here. that is supposed to indicate that this area here, it's a continuation of up here, and it's kind of the stuff that's down below here. Okay, there we go. Yes, of course there's going to be some of the red down here, but a lot of it is that gray stuff, that gray material, that, and I'll make that more gray up there too. But it basically has a reddish tone to it. And I'm going back over my blue shadows. There, they are heavy. Alright. Now, we don't really want to define this much more. There will be some shadows that come in here. This shadow may be a little bit on the dark side. I'm going to make that lighter. It's kind of on the yellow side. It is here. Oops, too yellow. A little lighter. Here, kind of emulates the colors over here. Then we have this, there's a little thingamajig here, a little tower. And we've got that stuff in the background behind it, and it's kind of on the gray side. Yeah, here. And this line, this shadow line comes all the way down. Here. And again, I don't want to leave it that blue. Go over it. So there. Alright, on the dark side. Here. I'm going to go back and put in that silvery strata that's on the top. It kind of goes across here. Yeah, that's what it looks like. And then it pops up over here. There. And that kind of continues. Not all the way, but in places. Anyway. So there. Now, maybe. Alright, let me go take my little smaller brush. I gotta redefine. I've got to redefine this shadow area over here, which is a beautiful blue. It comes over here and comes down, and it's here, like so. Continues on the other side, here, up there. But again, I wouldn't want to make that a straight line, whether it's a straight line in my original sketch or not. That's irrelevant. Lots of really nice blues over here. And I'll be doing those for sure. Here. And then that same vegetation that's really dark right here is going to be a light green on the other side. And I'm going to do that. Now it's here. Wait. Here. Of course, a piece of cypress or juniper. know what those things were. Alright, here we go. Yeah. It goes here. It actually goes up in there a little bit. So there. So I'm going to take that light green, pop it onto the dark value that I've got here, and it's starting to look kind of like it's supposed to here. Yep. Here. Now, this tower over here. Let's see here. Some of this orange has to go into here, because without it, it looks lost. So I've got to have a piece like that in there. And this came way down here. It's okay. But I just noticed that it needs to be punched up just like I'm doing it there. Down here, of course, is where the sun is coming in, and there's some highlights in this shelving, or this strata right here ends up being exposed. I mean, the rest of it would be that orange if the sunlight were there. I can extend it somewhat here so that this is not just okay, like that dark red. It's actually the light red by Winsor Newton. It is, and that's not light red, but they call it light red, and I like it, so I'm using it. One of the things that it's coming along, it's going to take a while, but I'm going to make this lighter right up here. The yellowy tone is good, but I'm going to make it lighter. So, and let's see. Or the Winsor Newton orange, that's not orange. Using a lot of turp. I'm starting to use more paint. There's again strata that where the color changes. The sun does hit the whole thing, but the strata seems to indicate that there's a shadow, but there isn't. Looking at that as I'm working on the other side, and it's bugging me. And even though I'm working over there, something's bothering me here. I gotta go do it. Oh, there is some trees or some vegetation up there, and I'm sure it's got to be trees. And it goes here, here, there, here, there. This is lighted too. Some pink in there. It with acrylics, I don't know. again, it's not a brush that I've had good luck with. Some of you may, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, I think this is looks too much like a shadow. And looks like a shadow. Yeah, boy. Pinky over there. Now, I've been wanting to do that, so I'm doing it. I'm going to reintroduce the shadows that are in here in a minute. This is really hitting me now, but I think it'd be okay for a while. Take a smaller brush and put those shadow lines in there. Like I said, there's vegetation along that ridge here. It's too dark. I'll make it a greenish color. And it goes in a few other places. It doesn't just stay there. There. Okay. Before I made that green, I had more orange, and it certainly went better with the rest of the painting. And it kind of, again, you've heard me say I'd like to make sure that we have separation. So I kind of remind myself of that by putting a separation line on it here. Okay, that's fine. Right. Again, once I've got green on my dark green color on there, I just put it back into this area, which is very dark, but it has, and now I've taken out most of the darks, and I go back in with a, I don't know what I'll have here, phthalo blue, some alizarin crimson, and it turns out to be a purple of some kind. And that's okay too. These little shadow areas that are some of the dark things that are growing there. I just, having it just a green or a purple, or it's got to have other colors in it because I need to pick up the colors from everywhere. There's some vegetation here too. Maybe. Now there are highlights with the different strata down below, which again I need to put that in here. From a value standpoint, yeah, that's better. Eventually, we'll have to solve some more problems. horizontal line for that strata that I just put in. On my study, I did this as vertical strokes, and I like that better. Yeah, there's some really nice drop shadows that are in the rocks here. That one of the reasons I like this painting, and I've done it more, done that study, and is because of those wonderful shadows. I mean, it's just fantastic. Okay. The crown on this thing in the center is a little lighter, but it's here. If I make the drop shadows that are being cast by the sun hitting this edge right here, and I find that they're too powerful, or too blue, or too something, or it's not working with the rest of the painting, then I will have to change it, and I will. But for now, I'm going to leave them. And then when I do this blue right here, it's just in shadow. Underneath it is green and this golden color, and so I'll go back over and pop in both green and gold, so that we know it's just a shadow, and the stuff underneath it ends up getting the colors of what's actually there, but the blue will kind of dominate. The blue shadow line will dominate. I think I'm going to make that lighter too. And like a lot of things, sometimes. And again, this green, I'll put orange in there in a second. And the orange being the various orangey strata that are everywhere, but I do let them separate. It's kind of heavy here, so I'll put some orange there. Yep. Still have to work on this area. I don't like what's going on. I think what I'll do after I think about this for a while is make sure that I like the various masses that I've got. On my study over here, this area comes up instead of coming down. Do I like that better? Let me think about that. And I've got the strata really continuing nicely over on the side over here with nice vertical strokes. Lots of nice interesting colors in here. So eventually I hope to be as successful with that on this painting too. And I notice here also this nice green. This stuff is actually, there is material, there's vegetation that's getting some light in this area right here. And so putting some green highlights in here of things that are growing, and we know it's not solid, it's certainly spotted. Yeah. And I think this area needs to go a little darker, like I've done it in here. I like that continuation of the shadow coming around here. This is 1824 Zion painting, similar. This hill is very similar to the 16 by 20 hill, but it's from another angle on the road through Utah. and maybe that's the title, On a Road Through Utah. And I've been working on it a little bit, and I thought I'd kind of go over what are the issues that I've kind of encountered. I've tried something in this area. In fact, I've tried a bunch of things in this area, and it just didn't work out. It just didn't look, so I scraped it. That's what this line is right here. I've tried to make this brighter, and I've not been successful at it, but it will be. The other thing that really bothers me about this painting is that this mountain looks squashed, and I think I'm going to have to raise it to about here. I think that will help it kind of grow. Let me show you the original sketch, and then maybe you'll see what I'm talking about. The sketch is over there, and so that doesn't look squashed, while this does. Anyway, that's my problem. And also, when I'm painting, I'm always blocking what I'm doing. So I've put the camera on the left-hand side. I think you'll end up seeing what I'm doing. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I like this area down here. It's very much like the original sketch. This very dark foreground, I don't know. I think a lot of the red rock that's here is down on the bottom here, and I have punched that up a little bit more. It doesn't get full sunlight like these little orange outcroppings that have worn away. I mean, whatever was there has been worn away, and now the original orangey sandstone rock is showing. But basically, it's different than the original sketch, but and they're supposed to be. None of my stuff that I'm going from a sketch to an enlargement ever looks the same. I mean, it just doesn't. But anyway, I'm not totally unhappy. I need to brighten this up. I need to figure out how I'm going to do this and be happy with it. So these little smudges are some of the gray rocks or the gray strata that has fallen and is now deposited as large boulders or small rocks here. Some of this gray will kind of show up in between the growth, this green stuff here. It's like this. It's the same thing as this. It's green, it's got orange in it, and here there's no light. That's why it's so much darker. But anyway, I like the overall scene. I love Zion. I love Utah. It's got so many vistas. It's just, you could paint there for the rest of your life. And I'm just starting to put heavy paint on, and this right, actually, I didn't do that. I didn't see it in my sketch or in the photograph earlier on. This is actually just a stain, because there must be a waterfall right here. It's very interesting. Well, let's see what happens when I start putting paint on it. Well, I'm a long way from being done, that's for sure, but I've been struggling with a bunch of issues on here, and I'll tell you what they are. From the photograph, my sketch, of course, had it very, very simple. But from the photograph, this is super, super busy with cracks and crevices and a highlight here, and the issue has been that when I get too close to the busyness of the photograph, the painting no longer works. So from that standpoint, all I should really think about is simplifying it. But it's so nice to have the grays and the oranges and the purpley shadows. I mean, I'm enjoying that, but I'm enjoying it to the point where there's too much of it, and then it ends up no longer working. And that's the issue. That's really the problem. The other thing that, we still have a bunch of work down here, but this right here, I've looked at the picture again, and I think I've raised it too high. The original sketch really was close. It was too close to the top, but I think it was much closer than what I've got here. So guess what? I'm going to end up having to remove the top, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch or something. Yeah, it's just, it looks majestic. It's not how it was. And even that's okay, but it looks a little overdone, maybe. And that's why I've decided I'm going to go back in there and take off just a little. Alright, so all I do is take a little bit of white, take my cerulean, mix up a little mixture. It's gonna get together with the paint that's already here, but that's okay. For now, the sky's gonna come down to there. I've taken off maybe a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. Here. Yes, the color will change weird up here, but that's okay. That is something that's not going to be an issue down the line, because the sky still, see, I fixed a few things here already, and then you see a darker blue and a lighter blue. There'll be some stippling going on in that sky rather. But for now, I'm going to put that crown back on the top of that, and there's, believe it or not, there is some greenish stuff, which means that there are trees up there. Let me kind of finalize the top, or at least how high do I want it? About here to there. There. Like a nice little top hat. There. Kind of brings up these colors right here. From here on in, I mean literally from here on in until I'm done, and after it's been on the wall for a while for me to kind of judge, that's what I'm going to do, just kind of changing things. I mean, I've had this much simpler, and to me now, it's been getting too busy again. And so let me skip to something else that's been bothering me. The back side of this wall, there it goes down, there's really a crack there. This is part of this structure right here, and I want to make sure that's clear, and so I'm going to go back up to that back side of that cliff that is broken off, and here, yeah, I like that. There, this lavender purpley stuff is the back. Okay, I like that. And even though on the photograph there are no shadows on this side, I am going to do that though. I'm going to make this the shadow side. Otherwise, it always looks like, did you miss the drop shadows on that side? Yeah. Anyway, I'm not terribly unhappy with what I've done here so far. Again, it's getting so busy that I'm going to try to make it less busy. Some nice darks up there. I'm going to add some of those nice darks down here. That silvery gray material that's fallen down in this area too. I do like that dark, and I like this dark here. Let's just re-emphasize it. And then this area is kind of mishmash. And looking at the photograph or looking at my sketch is really no help at this time, or very little help. What the biggest resource for me is just putting my brush into the paint and trying it, putting a stroke horizontally and going vertically, just back and forth until I finally. And I'm sorry that there's not a simpler way. There really isn't, and it's a shame, because it would be so nice if it were simpler. I do like the horizontal strokes, because that's how the strata is going here. Is that too Too red. Should I take a bigger brush? Yeah, I think that's what I should do. Smart move, Carl. Take a bigger brush. And then the question is the shadow all the way down to here, or do I end up going back into that and raising the shadow area? And that dark area that I had at the very bottom, kind of where the ground cover and the structure here meet. This one, I need to get a little bit of a reddish brown in here. And maybe even more. There, let's see. So where the shadows are, of course, every time I make my brush stroke differently, the light reflects on it differently and can't see what I've done. But simplification is the answer to the question. How do I work on this and what do I do? Simplification, that extra line I put there, just makes it more complicated. It's unending, so some of you who've heard me say that I work on paintings for a long time, I could be working on this 6 months from now. After it's gone to the gallery, I may be glad to get it back to work on parts of it that I've been thinking about, and that's so typical for me, it really is. It's very, very common for me to do that. Yeah, and is it because I'm a perfectionist? No, the perfectionism is really not making it closer to what the original photograph is or the original sketch. It's what's working for me. Is it working? Even though this is real close to the sketches that I showed you earlier today, I still want to punch it up. I still want to make that highlight brighter. If I make it too bright, is it going to take the eye off the center of interest, our crowned jewel right here? Yeah, right here. All right. Again, I'm going over what I just went over. The photograph is super, super, super busy, and my sketch is super, super simple, and I'm trying to find a middle ground to make myself happy and to have the viewer who looks at this not get stuck on all the details and little highlights and what have you, but to move on to the rest of the painting. Yeah, that's literally the essence. And this green is the brilliant green. I'm not making it brilliant green up here. I'm just making the dark area, shadowy areas, and this silvery gray stuff is stuff that's come out of these hills and landed right here. I still want to punch this up to be a companion to this orange up here and some of the highlights that are over here. I mean, after today, I'm going to have to just leave it for a while and kind of look at it, because it is annoying looking at it and wanting to make changes, but I need to be sure of what the changes are from here on in. I will show you. Again, this is the shadow, and I want to go more purpley. There, alizarin crimson. It's here, comes down. There's one, comes down, goes here. Yeah, and then it comes over the top here. The roundness of this little round valley, and so I like the look of that. And then all right, I'm gonna see what happens when I punch that up. Some nice drop shadows in there too, where I'll put some more in a second here. Well, that's a little too much because all the eye ends up going there and never leaving, and that's one thing we don't want. But I like that punchiness, and I'll put some deeper, darker. There. And each one of them ends up, yeah, that's too much. But I'll leave it for a while here until I feel like I can safely change it. I want to make that much darker. Those drop shadows here. There. Okay. Anyway, I've brought that down. Yeah. It's more majestic when it's higher, there's no doubt about it, but I don't, that's fine. Coming down a half inch, 3/4 of an inch is fine. This back thing up here, I'm going to make it just a little warmer, or a little more of a highlight so I can see it. Yeah, bring the shadow up in that area. Okay. My darker shadows are staying, and that's good. I think that's okay. I'm going to have some of that same red. I hope I have some more of it here. Over here. Yeah, here. Yep. I think that works. Maybe a little bit lighter in a few areas. Okay, a stroke or two here. I'm going to put some blue on it to get that. Nope. Too much junk on my brush. What I'm looking at and what I'm trying to get to is the darks that in here. The greens and grays. Yeah, I've got to bring that down. It's just too crazy. It's just too much. Yeah, this stuff over here can't be too much brighter than it is. I am positive I'll be revisiting that particular section down here. Just not happy with either the strokes, the color, or the design of it. Yeah, maybe that's better. For now, it's okay. This is a dark ridge again. That dark ridge is part of the structure underneath the soil. Yeah, here. There's no doubt there's a structure underneath here. And it's revealed where the sand and wind and stone and rain and a couple of million years, and that's what it ends up looking like when it's had time for the erosion to come in and create what we've got here. I don't know. I have to look back at that. I do like the greens, to pick up the greens on the other side. I like the idea of coming down from the top. One of the things that I will do is eventually I'll be putting in some of the browns that I have here into the sky to tie everything together. And that's too dark. I'll have to make it lighter, but just want to show you what I will be doing. And then I'll go over it with a lighter blue, and it'll end up looking something like this. Here's my cerulean. I do love cerulean, I really do. And then I'll be coming back in here. And one of the things that makes me know, that tells me, you're done, Carl. And there are not many things that do that, only a very few things. Even if I don't put this sparkly stuff into the sky, but when the rest of the painting ends up having kind of a vibration, a sparkle to it. And I don't know if that's it's not always the design. Sometimes it's just the amount of paint that I've got on there, and it ends up creating a sparkle that kind of gives a vibration. Sparkle is the wrong word, but a vibration to the whole painting. And that's kind of when I know I'm done. So this vibration is something that I see in all the artists whose works I admire. I mean, I see that in their work. It's not only in the design, but in the color that's on the page and the vibration that's created. Yeah, and I've got the same color down here in this area, and I've just kind of made a design where it is here. Some of the other areas need to be darker, but I think you understand what I'm saying about the sparkle that I'm trying to put into the sky. And I may have to put that orange back in there. The stuff I have here is too dark, but I think from a demonstration point of view, I think you'll understand what I'm saying. It creates a vibration, and that vibration tells me I'm just about done. And I should have a vibration in this painting, even if I don't add all this stippling to the sky. But I do like the idea, and I mean, I've looked at, and you have too, I hope, looked at enough Edgar Payne paintings to see how he handles the sky, how wonderful that vibration works with the rest of the painting. Yes, some of it here is lighter, some of it's a little darker, a little bit of orange coming through it. I'm going to go put some lighter orange in there just so you know what I'm talking about. Here is a brighter orange, and when I go back over the blues over there, it actually makes a little mud. That's what I don't like, but here it's fine. Eventually it'll be fine. I'll do it 2 or 3 times. Yeah, I think you understand what I'm saying. There is a nice little drop shadow that I've kind of painted over because it was right here. I think I'm going to look at this for a while, and when I get a little bit further along, I'll invite you back in and to see if you like what I've been doing. I love those drop shadows. I mean, without it would really be boring, really boring. That blue in here. It's that hill that rolls around. Okay, I think you know where this painting is going. Do I like it as well as a 16 by 20? It's different. It is different. And the place where I'm going to go spend more time, maybe not today, but I will be spending more time, is here. Yeah, it has simplified it. Yeah, I'll be looking at this for a while, and you know, I don't like what's happening here, and I still am not happy down here. So I'll invite you back in a little bit, and then you'll see, and I'll explain what I've done. This is the 18 by 24 Zion painting. That mountain back here is called East Temple, and I'll probably either use that or on the road through Zion, I'm not sure yet. Some of the things that are still a concern of mine is I need to put a few more shadows in here. This gray material, which just ends up falling down and being on this like an alluvial fan of things that have fallen off for a million years. I need to go in with some dark reddish browns in here. It's too, even it is, that's how it was, but that's not important. I want to put some of these dark reddish browns in here to minimize that gray. And I think I mentioned already, I did re-lower this, not to exactly where it was, but I ended up making it too high, and that didn't look right, so I ended up having to change that. I added a tree down here, or a bush or something to, well, it's just a tree or a bush. This line kind of goes here, and there's nothing to stop the eye from going off. I do like to pop in something that prevents the eye from leaving, you know? And so that's why this bush is here. It wasn't in the original scene. It's not in my sketch, in none of the sketches. And so I've decided to add that, and that's working okay for me. Let's see what else. And I don't have a frame for this. I looked for one yesterday, and I didn't have a frame. So I need to get busy with that. I really do. All right, so let me go. And some of the things that are bothering me is what I'm going to try to get to ASAP. Also, I wanted to make this line come down here. Yeah. This line was whiter, was more, a little punchier line right here. There. And this green stuff I've got on here, these edges are trees, or yeah, I'm sure they're trees, kind of far away, like in here, and here, yeah. Okay, it's a little lighter there. This needs to be a little lighter. punchy color, punchy highlights from this limestone or whatever the heck this rock is. And it's so punchy. It is so bright, but that's what makes the scene, you know. And when you drive through there, it's just overwhelming. Yeah, one of the other places, and I didn't mention it earlier, but I think this is much lighter in reality. Not that I have to follow reality, but I'm wondering until I try it, and then I know, nope, it isn't working, or yes, it is. So my attempt is always to try to work it out to see, is it something that the painting needs? Yeah, I said I was going to do some heavier shadows, and yes, I do. I think that'll be a plus. At least I think it'll be a plus, and like everything else, I think it may work, and then I try it, and then it either does or it doesn't. Darker. Yeah, I see. Nope, that's a terrible color. It's got green in it. Now, once I have this color, I'll be able to do that over here as well. I said I wanted to kind of separate this gray material. That works. Oh, see this line right here? As it comes down, I need to separate this mass from this one. So it's just a line here. Shadows in these highlights here. Not much. Yeah, I noticed that I've got some yellows in here. Like I said, I had a little green down here. There are lots of colors in these, and so reality is really not, my reality is really not that strict. It can do this, I can do this, and I think I can get away with it. I do. A few things here. Anyway, a few little highlights, not many. Okay. Yeah, well, I'll see. And it doesn't work, well, I have to undo it. Yeah. Yeah, there's some trees up there too, and it's just nobody, unless I told you, well, maybe you would know that those are trees. That green is a little on the punchy side. So go back in. Let's see, what else did I want to do? Again, there are trees up here too, so a small green line. Take my I think I can have a little punchier oranges here, and yeah, a little punchier orange. Yeah, not punchier, just a highlight. You know, I had a white rock in here, but I've painted over it so many times, and each time I put it back, I get busy with the whole area, and then I paint over it. But I think I'm gonna put it in one more time. Yeah. Here. And that's not, I mean, there were plenty of rocks around. I'm just putting in enough to pick up the highlights up here. Okay, maybe that's too much already. So, make him a little more orange. Got this tree right here, and I'll redefine it. It's a tree, it's a bush, it's something to break up this hillside right here. That's really all it is. I'm going to make it pretty dark and put a little green in there. Here. It's here. I want this one pretty dark too. This one is, again, a little higher maybe. And I will kind of give the top of it a little bit of a highlight, just to have people know it's something living instead of being some rock. There we go. The dark looked bitter to me, and so I'm going to go back in and there. Yeah. I do like the little wider shadows here. I mean, they were all just lines. I can put some shadows in here because those were outcroppings of the same material. There's some lines of it here. Yep, I'm just kind of working and making things happen, I'm hoping. And, you know, this is not going to be the end. I'm coming back, and after I've made a frame, that's the thing I got to do next. Here's a green line here. And that nice warmth is what I want. Doesn't have to be all the way across. But am I happy with the sky? Well, it's okay. There's lighter blue here, more orange coming through here, and that's all right. I mean, I can go back in and try to change that, but I don't think it's going to be a matter of super importance. Yeah. Anyway, and once it's on the wall, I certainly will be looking at it with a critical eye and deciding, yeah, maybe this mountain needs to come up again. Well, I don't think so, but that's what I'll be doing. Looking and deciding what should happen next. Or what do I need to change? Yeah, it's hard for me to finish because I keep seeing things that I think are flaws. I did add some little bit of red under the soil, which is not a bad idea because of the composition of the various things here. And adding a stroke or two to emphasize that is also not a bad idea. The red goes well with the rest of it. And this bush is kind of getting totally lost here. And so I'm going to go back in and decide, yeah, this is the bottom. And there it goes to the top. All right. I think that one of the things that, I have to show you the other Zion painting that I did earlier. I don't know, a week or 2 or 3 or 4 ago. And that is, it's different. It's the same mountain from a different angle. And that's what makes it so interesting. I'm going to add some. Okay. Is that too violent a blue? I don't want it much lighter. I just didn't want it so violent. Don't know if that makes it better or not. And I need to look at it. I need to look at it on the wall. That's really what's going to determine what else needs to be done. Yeah. All right. Okay. Are those shapes good enough? That's okay. Just a few of these highlights here. We got the highlights down here. All right, I think that's, why is that so green up there? Well, because I added that green on as part of the trees that are going up there. Wait. All right. I was gonna get rid of a little bit of the green. Yeah. Or yellow. Yeah. And now it's too yellow. Some white. And you've heard me say that I love impasto paint on paintings. I really do. So eventually there'll probably be even more paint on here. Yeah. Here. Here. Some of the green got on there because it's okay. There is a variety of color down here too. Reds and the oranges, highlights. I think I've done what I started, the task I set for myself. I think having a few things of interest in here is not a bad idea either, because it's just a wasteland, but in that wasteland I'm sure there are highlights, things that catch the light or your eye, and too much maybe. Again, it's not what I find in the original sketch or what I saw. It is simply now a matter of what does the painting need to make it a better painting. That's it. It's got to go on the wall. I think I'll work on a frame for the rest of the day, and so I can hang this on the wall. This is the final image with a frame for East Temple, Zion East Temple, 1824. The frame is my brother's, nicely hand carved in the corners, and it's also the right color. The silver I had for the frame, I had a silver frame that my brother made, but it's not the right color. It needs to be on the golden side. Could be a darker gold color as well, but it works pretty well. Few things have changed since the last image. One is this area right here still bothers me, and I'm sure I'll be going back into it. It is material that's fallen off of these cliffs here. A lot of the gray material that's in here are these gray spots here. Then large boulders are in here too. Plus the dark spots is growth of some kind of sage or cypress or juniper. I've added a few more here, but basically that's this particular painting. I mean, I know you probably won't be seeing it after I work on it some more, but I'm going to. This area right here, to me, maybe it's too busy. This is a difficult area because I don't want to make too much interest here to take away from the highlights, which are here, here, and here. So this has to go back further. It has to be less developed, and so I'm going to play with it some more. But this is the final video for 1824 East Temple in Zion. Um, anyway, it's basically a nice composition. I think I'm going to make a much larger version of it uh, because I like the colors, I like the design, and so I will make a larger version of this, or the 16 by 20 view of Zion and the same mountaintop. So that's basically it. Uh, yeah, I think there's no more to be said. I've got some smudges of greens in here. Again, they're far, far away. There's some green hints. Grass is down here. Trees are in this area up in there. But basically, it's basically heading toward the finish line. That's what it is. Um, yeah.